Hello everyone, this side Rahul Magan here as the Chief Executive Officer of Treasury Consulting LLP, and today we would be covering a topic which is Predictive Analytics Treasury Management System. I hope you are learning this topic first time because not very much people are aware about what do you mean by Treasury Management System, and again not very much people are aware about what do you mean by Predictive Analytics. But what are we doing this time? We are adding two topics, which is predictive analytics and treasury management system. Treasury management system is just like an engineering. You just keep moving and you will keep innovating new things. Before moving this topic, of course, we are coming up with a video. But let me share something which I was reading yesterday. I was reading an international magazine in which there is an article. Of course, we are having our own magazine, which is the quarterly base, which is coming in September. But I was reading an international magazine in which there was an article that the role of a quants is growing in the financial market. And the justification was that regulatory is coming up so many changes. Example, credit valuation adjustment, debit valuation adjustment, margin valuation adjustment, and so many things. Regulatory is coming up, that quants right now working 24/7, they make sure that the models which we have of the financial market, we would be able to take up all valuation adjustment, because till now when you talk about a valuation adjustment as per Basel 3 or as per CRD4, CRD4 stands for capital reform, capital recovery directives, right? Then it's just like CVA, which is credit valuation adjustment, maximum DVA, which is debit valuation adjustment, and the world's end here. But the world is moving very fast. Similarly is that these two things, predictive analytics and treasury management system, whatever we have today, which is 15th of July 2017, treasury management system is going to be changed by at least 25% effective 3rd January 2018. MiFID will get applicable. At least by 25% they are going to get changed. That is a sure fact. Because so many regulatory things which are happening, that all majority of the TMS, either including Murex, Calypso and all, either they are not fully compatible or they are totally not compatible with that. They are regularly adding a lot of patches, and I'm not sure how effective are these patches, so on and so forth, but TMS will change a lot in 2018. And this time we are adding TMS with one of the beautiful things which we have now, which is predictive analytics. Let's take an example. We have here, we have taken few banks and also one of the well-known IT companies, those who have practice of TMS. Example, JP Morgan Chase, Citibank, UBS, United Bank of Switzerland, Cognizant, which is an IT company having a good practice, HSBC, Bank of America, ANZ Sydney, Westpac, National Australian Bank, NAB, Commonwealth Bank and Royal Bank of Canada. They all have TMS in place. Like ANZ is having Murex. If I'm not wrong, Commonwealth also have a Murex. JP Morgan will have their own proprietary base. Citibank is using Murex middle office. UBS is using Murex, that I know. Cognizant is having a practice in Murex. HSBC, I think they are using their proprietary. Bank of America is also using proprietary. These all are either using them, like we give an example, which is Murex, Calypso, proprietary, their prop systems, FX engines, Quant TMS. Quant TMS is when you have a TMS which is not for everything. Example, taking up a trade, value of a trade, and so on and so forth. This TMS is majority covering the valuation of the trades. So TMS will play a multiple role, but this TMS covering about the valuation, right? Then we have library TMS. Now library TMS is just like a shelf. If you go to a library, in this shelf you can put anything. You can put the comics books, you can put the literature, you can put the fiction, non-fiction, IFRS, business valuation, fixed income, derivative, you can book any book, right? Similarly is the library TMS. You can have any kind of TMS. Okay, so they are of course both types. You have prop based and license based. So majority of this globe is around here there. So either they can have Murex, Calypso, prop desk, FX engine, Quant TMS, library TMS, and number of that. But here we are restricting our predictive analytics on something whereby each of the big bank would have an exposure. Example, interest rate swaps. Several people came to me and said that foreign exchange market is a $5 trillion market. But I am always saying that, excuse me, we have interest rate derivative which is $100 trillion per day, and we have credit derivative which is 1750 trillion or 1750 trillion or 1.75 tera trillion per day. The total fixed income market is approximately 2000 trillion per day, approximately 2000 trillion per day. But here we are covering 100 trillions per day, whereby we take up an example of interest rate hedging like dollar swaps, reverse dollar swaps, overnight index swaps, INBMK swaps, LIBOR swaps, reverse dollar LIBOR swaps, accreting swaps, amortizing swap, conto swaps, reverse conto swaps. All of this have two critical components. One is MIFOR and one is LIBOR. These are the two critical components which we have. 90% of the times banks are not thinking about that. What banks are saying, you have feeders, Reuters, Bloomberg, MT4, MT5 and so on and so forth. You have feeders. You just take the data from a feeder and the data is coming to data from the feeder is coming to data from a feeder is moving to TMS or FX engine, from where you are taking up the valuation. As simple as that. But let's look at that way. Let's utilize predictive analytics in that. What is predictive analytics? What is from where I am coming from predictive analytics is that I am coming from an EU perspective. I'm not sure how many people know that we have one regulation across the globe, which is benchmark regulation. People often talks about MiFID, CRD4, CRR, CRD5, Basel 3, and lot of such, CoreApp, common reporting, and lot of such. We are going to cover a lot of such things. But people don't talk about a very good regulation, which is benchmark regulation. Now, what is this benchmark regulation is all about? Now, in this benchmark regulation, take a simple example. Post LIBOR scandal, the world felt that even the best valuation methodology which we have in LIBOR, which is extrapolation, bootstrapping and extrapolation, this might not work appropriately. People realized that, the world realized that. What did happen? Now we have several currencies which are not a part of LIBOR, like Australian dollar, like New Zealand dollar, several currencies which are not a part of LIBOR. And at the same time, we have several denominations also which are not the part of LIBOR. So previously what used to happen, we used to have 15 denominations and 12 currencies, so total almost 180 compositions. But now we have 7 denominations and 5 currencies, so 35 composition. So previously you have 180, now we have 35 composition. I'm not saying I'm in agreement of this fact, I'm not saying I'm in a disagreement of this fact, but the regulator thought that they should they should quash 8 periods and 7 currencies. 8 into 7, which is 56. That is their choice. That is not my choice. And that is their call. But why they did that? Because of a regulation which came up after LIBOR scandal, and that regulation is known as benchmark regulation. What this regulation suggests? This regulation suggests that all the important benchmarks of this globe, they should be regulated appropriately. Example, LIBOR, Euribor, Ionia, Sonia, STIR, federal fund rates, and prime rate, and a lot of such. It's a highly unfortunate fact that effective 2016, because when this particular regulation launched, only one of this particular financial indexes, which is Euribor, Euro Interbank Offered Rate, which is nothing but the sister concern of LIBOR for all the EU based banks. But now London is not a part of that, so we understand Article 50, Brexit and all. We're not entering into that debate. Now the point is very clear. They are saying that Euribor is the first official financial index which covered under EU regulation, EU benchmark regulation. Now take an example of a European bank. UBS. UBS is an active player in LIBOR and also in Euribor. Sonia, Ionia, they are an active player here. So they are active player here. Now they would like to understand one thing, that every day they are quoting. Of course, there are different methodology of each of them. Every day they are quoting, and that rate is going to be used for the valuation of a so-called derivatives in the market. The mark-to-market component of that valuation is completely dependent upon the quote, and that is an alternate fact. That is an alternate fact that there is still a debate which is going on, that either the rates which people are putting, are they dealt or are they assumed? Because if they dealt, then it is okay. I am ready to take mark-to-market loss in the books. But if they are not dealt, they are just assumed, there is no point taking mark-to-market. There is no point taking mark-to-market losses. That is a key contention which we have. Now, in this, what are we talking is that all these would have, except few which is OIS and INBMK swaps, all these would have MIFOR and LIBOR component. Let's have predictive analytics on that, because we are regulated by benchmark regulation. What we are going to do in that, we are going to be linked this with predictive analytics softwares like SPSS, Minitab, IDEA, ACL, eServe, Hadoop, Excel Forensics. The list is pretty long. The list is not small. The list is pretty long. SPSS, Minitab, IDEA, ACL, eServe, Hadoop, and Excel Forensics, Python and all. Every day we are getting the data for Euribor. Let's take an example for the Euribor. Every day when we get the data for the Euribor, we will put this data into this analytics software and we try and understand the nature of that. What exactly is the nature of that? Example: P-test, F-test, Z-test, chi-square, correlation, parametric correlation, Kublin correlation, linear correlation, non-Kublin correlation. Using these analytics software, you will not only understand the nature of such indexes, but also able, as a quant, also able to link these with your financial product. Example, you can support your front office as far as the hedging is concerned. Example, you can support your middle office as far as the regulation is concerned, and multiple things. In example, you can support the regulators also, right? You can support the regulators also. Regulators in the sense like you can tell them this is how it is happening wrong or this is happening right? These analytics softwares are very, very essential. Unfortunately, people tend to appreciate that these analytics software can only be used for data analytics. Except data analytics, we cannot use any of that software. I tend to differ here. I always wanted to say that these analytics softwares can be used anywhere. In this complete video, we have not talked about fixed income, but UBS is the biggest player. We can utilize for fixed income as well, provided we do have an intent of utilizing that. This is what the purpose of this video is, to let you know that if we are governed by something which is known as benchmark regulation, which is a EU based regulation, and Euribor is one of the notified product of that, using this predictive analytics, we can do a lot of stuff which we never thought of. So having a TMS in place, it could be Murex, Calypso, Nubrix, FIS and OpenLink. It is one thing and good thing, that at least you are making sure that your treasury is online. But at the same time, linking this treasury management system with predictive analytics, and especially this FX engine. We have few banks across the globe, those who have FX engine, especially linking them makes a lot of sense. And these softwares are not very costly, so would be the consulting. This is the purpose of this video, is to let you know that how the world is moving, how the technology is moving, and we are still thinking that either I have a manual treasury or I have a treasury which is Murex based. I have just installed the Murex or Calypso and my job is done, nothing else I have to do. Thank you very much. No, this is not. Life has just started. In case you have any requirement, my website is www.treasuryconsulting.in. My mobile number is 9899242978, while my Skype ID is Rahul5327. My email is rahul.magan@treasuryconsulting.in. Treasury Consulting is having a very strong presence in consulting services, and in analytics as well. In analytics we are growing, and we are also very pleased to share that today we completed the first year of the formation, and we have already shared the vision statement in public space. In case you don't have, you can contact us. And last but not the least, our fixed income platform is on the way, and hopefully by October we would be able to put the first fixed income platform before the public. Thank you very much and have a wonderful time.